Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the weekend review for HCA 330 Principles of Healthcare Accounting, Module 3. Can you believe it? We are almost to the midpoint of the course. All right, well, let's talk a little bit, as usual, what we're doing for this week. But before that, I kind of like to talk about kind of current status and updates and whatnot. Grading is pretty much complete for 95% of you. For the remainder of you, it should be complete by the end of tomorrow. So please bear with me on that. I have been working on a lot of major assignments here, but they are done, luckily. And some really exciting news about the Healthcare Administration program, which I will be announcing in a few weeks. That kind of occupied a huge chunk of my time over the past week or so. But we'll talk more about that probably in about 4 weeks. About some of those exciting new developments with the Healthcare Administration program. All right, but now let's talk a little bit about the course. Again, grading should be caught up for everybody by the end of tomorrow. One of the consistent things here as I look at my notes here are some concerns about the quizzes. Now, in general, the performance has been typical, been pretty, I'd say, pretty good. A little bit lower than statistically average courses that I have. But when I look at the range, we do have everything from A's all the way to not so good. But we do have a nice distribution. Most of you are falling in the B range on the quizzes. So that's not too alarming. And what I do look at is with every quiz, we have some analytics behind the scenes. Thank God it does it for me automatically. I don't need to calculate it. But what I do is I look at every question and get a statistical average or a report on every individual question and the percentage of students who got the question right and wrong. If there is any question in our quizzes, midterms, finals, where more than 50% of you have gotten the question wrong, that question I automatically eliminate and give you the points back. As of right now, we haven't had one of those questions. So they all are kind of skewing above 50%, but there's not a lot of the questions where there are a few where everybody gets 100, all of you got the question right, but there's kind of a nice distribution there. I would say the quizzes are challenging, especially when you have 5 choices in there and you have multiples. So either B is C or D and A, that kind of thing. Those multiples is what I call them, multiple choice with multiple answer possibilities, really challenges. Now, with that being said, these quizzes, as I told a few other students I've been talking to this week, all of these quizzes you're going to be having are brand new. So I make mistakes, and I make mistakes all the time. So if you do see a bad question, hey, hey, Chris, the answer was XYZ, but it got graded wrong, or this question was just plain confusing, let me know. I will take your feedback on that. Definitely look at the question. So using kind of what you're saying, your feedback on any particular question versus the kind of the statistical analysis in the background will help to alert me if there are any problems with individual questions on the quizzes. Now, also with some other conversations with students about the time for the quizzes. They felt that they were using all of the time available. Now, by design, the quizzes are meant to, they're open book and open note, obviously. We know that you're using that. We want you to. That's perfectly fine. But they're designed so you can't look up every question. But you might want to flag a few of them to look them up. But I think even with looking at them and trying to puzzle them out, the time on these quizzes, again, getting feedback from you guys on that is a little tight. So with this week, I've increased or will be increasing the time on the quizzes to 120 minutes. So I'm adding an extra half an hour onto the quizzes. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more breathing room to sit there and read those. I know they are challenging questions, those multiples in there. You have some short answer questions in there, usually short. I'm not going to say essay. There might be a very short essay in the future, maybe like 2-3 sentences max, but most of the things that you are doing are very short answer type stuff. Like we had in quiz, I believe quiz 1, where it was just list the flavors of accounting, and you just listed 4 right off the bat. That's kind of short answer. So but know that you I guess have those questions in there. So hopefully this extra time gives you a little bit more breathing room. Okay, so we're going to add some more time onto the quizzes. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dropping your lowest quiz grade. So it's not going to be counted in the overall calculation of your total points for the course. So what is that going to do? Should have thought of this before I shot the video here, but what that's going to do mathematically, the quizzes are worth, I believe, 25 points. Let me check. Yes, the quizzes are worth 25 points apiece. So instead of having a 1,000-point course, we're now going to have a 975-point course. That's the maximum points for this course. Again, I'll look at your lowest quiz grade and drop that out of the calculation. So the maximum achievable is 975. Okay, so we got that. So that's going to provide, that'll provide you some relief as well. And typically, I'll say typically, no promises, but I'm about 95% there, is that there'll be extra credit. And in this accounting course, I've typically offered some extra credit towards the end, right around Module 6. Most of you at that point have decided you either don't need it or you're really desperate for a few extra points. But by Module 6, you'll kind of know if you've got the A locked in, you got the B locked in, that kind of thing. So look for some extra credit opportunities right around Module 6 and 7. Typically that'll be due by the end of the course, which was at the end of Module 8. All right, so that's kind of some, I guess, wrap up on what we're doing that way with quizzes and whatnot. Let's jump into the course real quick here in a couple minutes and look at our normal kind of activities that we're doing for this week. This week we're kind of getting in this, I guess, exciting area for accounting, and that is the lifeblood, the fundamental instruments of accounting and finance. We're going to start learning about those. This week is particularly the income statement, so we're going to be learning about that. Next week we'll be delving into its sibling, if you will, the balance sheet. So this week we have again our reading and presentations. As you know, and many of you figured it out, that there are questions that come from the videos, so please make sure you are watching the video lectures. With one thing I want to draw your attention to with this week's learning activity, we're back to doing some of the questions at the end of the chapter. Let me just back up. We're back to doing some problems at the end of the chapter. So if you look at the end of the chapter, they've divided it in two areas. They've got questions and problems. So make sure that you're choosing the right ones. This week we are doing problem sets, and they start on page 112. So you want to look at those. They're a little bit, I guess, deeper. You're going to be doing. You are going to pull out a calculator, or your phone. No one has a calculator anymore. But you're going to pull out your phone. You're going to have some, we're going to play with some numbers here. This is an accounting course. So with these problems, 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3, you'll be working on those this week. Now, I usually get some text messages right about now on whether do I have to use Excel? No, by no means do you have to use Excel. If you're wonderful and a whiz with it and you love doing Excel, go right ahead. I'm more than happy to take the assignments in Excel format, but generally not required. It's going to be basically simple math that you could do with your phone, and you can do all this in a Microsoft Word document. I'm guessing many of you know how to insert tables. If you'd like to insert a table in a Word document, if you want to make things kind of look cleaner, you can do it that way. But up to you. just to let you know, you don't have to use Excel for this assignment. And let's see, I think that was pretty much covering some of the basics here. Again, our quizzes, we talked about the increase of time and the dropping, and our journals. One of the things I would like you to look for on your journaling activities is something called audio feedback. So I will be attaching an audio feedback file to your journaling assignment. So look for that. It's a little I guess audio file, and it will be me talking to you, and I'll especially be using that for the journaling assignments. Some of the other assignments I might be using video feedback as time allows, but you'll know. I'll make a little note in the feedback section that says please see audio or video feedback, and then you'll see an attached file with that feedback in that feedback area. All right, well, that concludes the week in review for Module 3, and as always, thanks for watching.